A couple, one or two other things, zoning legislation.
Well, yeah.
Now, maybe with MI,
Yeah, there was
there's a lot of work, but after that's done, there is fences and sheds.
During my time, we passed 3 pieces of zoning legislation in my 2 years, yeah.
such as, just.
A new fence ordinance, a new shed ordinance, a weed and tick ordinance. I mean, those are the 3 that we passed,
Very good.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Fences and sheds.
I mean, that's mostly what we said.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
didn't
not-
have to go before one forever, that's all.
I think what the other things that the zoning code does is processes, permits and permit applications, right?
That's the bulk of what she does as a zoning clerk, she processes the applications.
Moving on. Are those responsibilities of the zoning clerk clearly defined? Don't know. Not applicable. Yes, although that person is part zoning clerk and part administrative assistant to the mayor and part reception to the community building.
Yeah.
And part general secretary for council, probably part other things also. I believe the mayor is a supervisor for the person, again, being reactionary rather than proactive. I don't know yeah. To my knowledge, there is no manual, no written policies and procedures for any of the above positions' duties. I believe that's a no. I think,
yes.
well, I think they meant no.
Yeah.
I think,
I mean, and the closing sentence, to my knowledge, there is no manual, no written policy or procedure for any of the
My
above.
perception is they're trying to not slam the person who's handling it, that person is doing a good job. However,
or another interpretation would be, it's clearly defined because there's no problems, right?
Right.
That the work is getting done today, but what we really know is that if that person were to disappear, like, all hell would break loose. Because there's no way to transfer the knowledge without a manual or job description or. I don't really know what they are, especially as we look ahead to a much larger number of homes and increasing complexity. How does this individual support the code enforcement officer, the village planner? So I'm gonna say that's a no.
so I would say this is actually so poorly defined that people don't even understand the question.
Yeah.
So that would just be the most nominal type of time.
Since I have not been involved in government operations for some time, I believe I'm not. Okay. Number 9. Are the responsibilities of the village planner clearly defined?
This is,
Yeah, the village planner would be there. Don't know, but in regard to the blunders and lack of transparency in purchasing the building on State Route 161 in Ponderosa, it costs the village way too much money on a poorly planned project. Huh? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
He was an instigator of that, right?
He was the instigator of the repeal and replace.
No, he was not.
It was his idea.
It was my idea.
Really?
Yeah.
You were the instigator.
I was the instigator, because when you want to say hundreds of thousands of dollars, you instigate.
Then why did Jen say it was his idea?
I really know.
We are.
So this is another.
Okay, moving along. Okay, yes, at this time there are, because housing developments have specific things that need to be done and approved. A good planner does all that. Does council and the public know what those duties and responsibilities are? I don't know. This is the first time we've had a village planner, and I believe we have a good one. If the mayor is the supervisor for this planner, I'm sure she has no real idea what the details of what he is mandated to do. How well he does what he does, I believe he knows what he should be doing, and he does a good job. He seems to know how to plan, get things done, and move projects along.
That would be a no, again, related to personality, yes, but
Yeah.
position, no.
didn't you say a while back when we started this thing that he had a village plan or something he was giving to the council. I thought he was gonna share it with us.
I don't know.
I know front of us.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, the next one is, I think they're fairly well defined. Since I've been involved in government operations for some time, I really don't know. When I was on council, I led several meetings with council, the mayor, strategic planning for the village. We spend much time putting together lists and ranking wants and desires for the future of our village, but to the best of my knowledge, nothing ever became of those lists and meetings. Having a strategic plan for our village is not something you talk about, then put away. It should be a living document that is revisited often, at least annually, and village goals align with that plan as funding becomes available. As far as I know, this has not happened at all. So that wasn't really an answer to the question.
Yeah, that did not answer the question.
Okay. Number 10.
Hold on, let's go back to summarize that one. So overall, on that one,
So, here, I also did not complete the survey, but I can tell you, Eric does have, for that position, there is a job description. And it has, delineated duties and responsibilities. I was on council when we were.
Does he act kind of as the village administrator?
No.
He stays out, he stays restricted?
He's very restricted to just dealing with VMI development and other planning and zoning type stuff.
Like the lake stuff or whatever.
Well,
Caring about the lake direction.
no, I don't believe that's part of, well, no, I don't think that's going for planning and zoning, so no, I don't believe that would be in his. Because that falls under the purview of the community committee. Are the responsibilities of the police chief clearly defined? Yes, we have questions.
we didn't finish them.
I thought we did.
So I missed it completely. I know that you said there is a job description.
Yeah.
Apparently, all these people who applied, either said no or they don't know. It's one of those things where, yes, there's a job description, nobody knows if they know.
Yeah, that's probably.
Okay.
Could be.
Alright.
Okay. Are the responsibilities of the police chief clearly defined? Don't really know, but I certainly hope so.
As we all do.
Ah, wow, okay. That sums it up, I guess.
And that appears to, I think so. Since I have not been involved in government operations for some time, I really don't know, but I would hope they are outlined in writing.
This may be my favorite so far.
Yeah.
There's one more.
No, that's it. Because there was one,
I don't know, not applicable, I think so, I hope so.
that was it, and then whoever the other one didn't apply,
Oh,
just like it was. Next time I'll have a default, this field left intentionally blank. So we know.
so, I'm gonna
Um,
say no.
no,
I mean, they're
so,
clearly fine, but nobody knows them.
so here's the, I am 100% certain we have a police manual, and that police manual lists the police chief's duties and responsibilities. I would tell you that is a fact.
Yeah, they report. Well, it's the fine, but.
And they do report to me. But that is, their duties are clearly defined. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Are the responsibilities of the fire chief clearly defined? I don't really know, but I certainly hope so. Not applicable. Yes, and again, the better the chief, the better the job gets done. I doubt if anyone really understands how far the village has come in the past 10 years. The level of professionalism and respect of the Mineral Park Police Department, the police chief, oh, so this person shifted again.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Just keeping you on your toes.
Apparently.
It's interesting, we call it a fire chief, but we don't have a fire truck.
It is a fire department. They respond to fire calls, but it's just an EMS vehicle.
So anytime it's a fire, because that's.
It's historical.
No, it is technically organized as a fire department. It is registered as a fire department, not just for historical purposes, but for.
Yeah, but I'm
all
saying
purposes.
that was historical, because we actually at one time, back in the 50s, had a fire truck.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's,
Yeah.
What do we got now? You know, 4 guys in a bucket? I mean, you know.
it's just an EMS, just an EMS.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
name,
We share.
We used to have a fire truck.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go back.
Was it
60
originally
years.
Queens Auxiliary Fire Department too?
Yep.
The original, very first
It
one.
was.
Wow, that was
And
awful cool.
All right, so that
Alright,
was,
so here, we can go back and read this police chief one. Yeah, this is
okay,
really the answer to question 10.
that was the one that's missing.
And this was the one that was missing. Look at you. Yes, and again, the better the chief, the better the job gets done. I doubt if anyone really understands how far the village has come in the past 10 years and the level of professionalism and respect from the Little Park Police Department. The police chief reports to the mayor, and I think that the mayor has let the police chief do his or her job with the way appearance or leadership. The fact that a few residents could cause such upheaval in the department was not a problem with the chief. I think it was a lack of proactive leadership higher up. Interesting.
I don't even know what that means. You?
Yeah.
What does it mean? Can we know? We can't know.
No, we'll talk about it later.
All right.
We've got 10 more questions.
Okay.
Here's the stuff.
Uh,
Personal opinions.
yeah.
I'm still lost in the spreadsheet right now.
That's okay. We're on,
Fire chief?
yeah, now we're coming over back to the fire chief person.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so back to the fire chief question, the person who was misaligned. Well, since the fire chief is a volunteer, I would really question if there is a job description. And I think there is very little to no oversight over what EMS does or how it does it. The fire chief reports to the mayor, and as far as I know, the fire chief and the mayor are such close friends that no one with half the money would have the fire chief report to the mayor. If this particular fire chief is to be our fire chief, then someone with a brain would have made the police chief the safety director and the police chief, and have the fire chief report to that position so that the mayor would not be in the position of having to supervise and do performance reviews on a person so close to her, because as far as I can tell, there was never any supervision and no performance reviews.
Taking up personal speculation and saying checks and balances are question.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
But by law, the fire chief reports to the mayor. Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Whether you should have recused, but didn't I just read it's volunteer, the fire chief?
So it is an unpaid position.
Yeah.
There is, in fact, budgeted funds for a paid fire chief, but we've had a volunteer fire chief for as long as I've lived in the village, and it has been the same volunteer fire chief.
I would say, yeah, because it's employed, if you have a conflict, then one of you employed.
That said, I'm does a fine job, that's okay.
That's-
Okay, not particularly, this is something that truly needs to be addressed, especially since council has allocated money to pay the fire chief for several years now. This money has never been spent, the current chief volunteers. Since I have not been involved in government operations for some time, I love this person. I really don't know, but I would hope they are outlined in writing as this position, mostly a volunteer position, compared to police chief, they may be more important to have clearly written responsibilities.
All right, so on this one, I got 6 answers, so I already got some. Yeah.
Come on, can we keep going?
No, that's it, that's the last one, that's all, actually, ones, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
So overall, it sounds like there's again some confusion.
Yeah, I think that there's well, you know what, I think that what there is largely a confusion of the fact that it's a volunteer position, and then an apprehension to the nature of
The relationship.
the relationship.
I believe the mayor and the fire chief live together, am I correct?
They do not.
They do not, fine, then I was thinking.
All right, are the responsibilities of clerk of courts clearly defined? I think this one kind of quick. Don't know, not applicable. Yes, by the state, and I believe there is
Nothing whatsoever.
nothing else. Oh, well, that's weird.
It's still a yes. Okay.
There's a good, yeah, how's the, but I did like a select all on that text.
I mean, you've obviously got some formatting challenges.
I believe so, mostly likely they are driven by state regulations.
Which one is this happening?
Code of course.
And I hope so.
It's like, what I said, the only thing,
God.
I want it, I want it. Are the responsibilities of maintenance supervisor clearly defined? Oh goodness.
Do we actually have a maintenance supervisor here, or is it just a maintenance person?
I believe that his title is actually maintenance supervisor.
So we have employees that are under the supervisor?
Well, we
How many
have,
supervisors are
we have a seasonal employee and or employees dependent.
I do have to say, the duck path was cleaned up of the mess.
Yeah,
That's because the ducks are gone.
They,
okay, hold on.
you're calling the duck path, it got just loaded with food. Oh my goodness.
I think it was before your,
They always have your,
it was before your house was built, it was really nasty.
It was horrible, horrible. You see the little
Especially when
kids.
you walk around barefoot like I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you used to think about it, you walk in there, I think, how is gonna pick up some viruses?
I didn't.
Thank goodness.
Okay, so maintenance supervisor, I don't know, but I believe the village would be better off contracting those.
I'm gonna guess that the next word is responsibilities.
Hold on.
No.
Yeah. So we've got a rewrap here, folks.
Undo it
No.
Good job, Brian.
Well done, sir.
You know what? Anybody else who wants to drive, is welcome to drive. Don't make me pull this car over here. Okay, contract those responsibilities out. Yes, there's a job description. I think we have a good maintenance supervisor who's doing supervision and does a good job. Nope. Since I
I think there's a lot of communication going on here.
No, but we hope there. I'll find it right.
So somebody did, okay, first, second.
So 1,
Do we presently have a maintenance
2, 3,
person?
Yes,
We do.
4,
yes.
5, 3, 4. Yeah, it's Jim Music.
The former police chief's husband.
Yeah.
No, he's gone, right?
No,
No,
He's still here?
she's gone, but
He's still
he's
here.
still here.
And that's another liability.
but it's also.
Close your mouth.
Well, we're on fly. Close your thoughts.
Okay, 14. Are the roles and responsibilities of village employees clearly defined? There weren't years ago, and I doubt they are now, not applicable. Yes, I was able to accomplish. Hold on, this doesn't seem like this is the answer to this question.
That's Kim Pulley's response, obviously. Let's see, what is this, and this was,
No, that's safety check?
that's one of the things she would recommend. Oh, I see, okay, no, okay.
Alright, so.
Well, let's read it and we'll figure it out later. Yes, I was able to accomplish quite a bit. I was friendly with the mayor, supported her, wanted her to look good, and took the initiative to recommend things to her. And she would listen. As long as I was willing to do the work, we did some good work. I organized a strategic planning session for council first. We had a plan which got very stalled because the recession hit. As safety chair, I undertook a strategic planning process for the police department, which brought to the surface problems with the police chief's lack of leadership and professionalism. He retired and hired a strong chief who had created a professional department. I wanted to do the same with EMS fire. However, this time I may not have had the mayor's support. Remember, she's a really good friend of the fire chief. After another council member and I visited the Mifflin Fire Department.
Yeah, I know the way to.
And I was ordered not to gather information on practices of surrounding departments so we could benchmark and improve. Shortly after that, I needed to resign from council, not because of that, but because of the Oprah's policy of retirees being reemployed even at $50 a month, which put my health benefits at risk. I don't believe any real improvements have been made to EMS since that time, but I could be wrong. I initiated getting the ordinances codified, but resigned before it was done. Councilmember Jen Hawken took over and helped complete that. I was on council and helped initiate council work sessions as a way to work through topics together as a council. Okay. Answer C question 1. Since I'm not involved in government, I really don't know.
I want to shake this person's hand.
So,
Yeah.
we-
Hold on. So here's what happened. I think this 15 needs to go 1 over.
Yeah.
Because I think here's where this person finally got their act together.
This person who we all know.
the number you mentioned, Paula.
Okay, so,
So wait, what's the consensus on 14?
so here's what I actually think about this question. I think that,
We already answered it 5 times.
Yeah.
Time was out here, it didn't matter.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think we don't, if we categorize out employees, we have police employees, we have fire employees, we have
Seasonal employees.
one maintenance, not even full-time, one maintenance person, a seasonal person,
Full
maintenance, we have full people. They are seasonal, you're right. And then the 2 clerks, like we don't have a ton of employees, so, and they don't categorize out very differently, right? So I think that's what happened. I'm sure the lifeguards will have really responsibility.
Save those who are drowning,
Yeah,
period.
Make sure that nobody climbs out the side of the pool.
they are serious.
They are not joking.
Well, I wonder how much it costs, because they redid the pool and put all that metal there.
Yeah.
So I think they don't want people to bend metal.
I asked this is on topic, but I'll waste 30 seconds until Brittany yells at me.
You won't
They
let
actually
me.
said that it is a safety issue, that if you know that people are only coming out at one point, it helps in how you're watching. It helps you watch as a lifeguard better. If someone's coming out in the wrong place, you know there's a problem. Oh, it could have been, BS, but what do I?
Well, I was a lifeguard, and it's a lot easier if people enter and exit through fixed points.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a huge pool to watch though, so it was very hard, it was easy to miss.
Okay, so number 15, in your position as a councilperson, were you able to offer alternative ideas to address village issues? If yes, what helped facilitate that? If no, what roadblocks did you encounter? Yes, we did, because council worked together and there were all different players in there. Not applicable. Shifted, which we read, right?
Yeah.
And then I could offer any idea that came to mind, alternative or otherwise. That happened. What happened after that? Well, it depended. In some cases, it was not impractical to implement or expensive. In other cases, the ideas required someone to lead the charge and see it through, or else nothing would happen. It's all good and well to sit and make around making suggestions, but without someone to implement those suggestions, things are unlikely to move forward. Take, for example, the persistent issue of communications. A number of council members over the years suggested and insisted demanded that an unpaid volunteer resident should not be the one to maintain the village's website and email domain, as well as the village newsletter. Changing this dynamic was not a priority or was deemed impractical. So nothing changed until it became untenable not to change it. The roadblocks are there: inertia, lack of time, lack of focus, the consistently revolving door of council members, etc. All right. In referring back to question 9,
Wait,
what?
did you notice the difference in this response? The introduction is
Yes.
not the same.
It is not the same. Yeah, they've
We've taken a change.
taken
Sure,
it.
we're not- Go on, I'm sorry, go on.
Okay, in referring back to question 9, in my experience with meetings with the council and the mayor for the village strategic planning, I often found that alternate ideas were not well accepted due to the ingrained culture of older members of the council and the mayor in not wanting to change operations or even trying new ideas. But this is a problem in any older organization. So my takeaway here is that it's not a process issue, but it's, again, personality issues, right? There are forums in which council people can give ideas, but it's how they use those ideas and how they carry them on.
So there's one thing that I want to say here, and that is, I know that we're all pressed for time. Our lives, our jobs. If any of you who have not been to council meetings, if there are those of you who have not been, or have not been much, I recommend that you go, so that you can see for yourselves how the council and the mayor interact currently.
They can watch live stream.
Or you can watch the live stream, but whatever, just listening to these responses, I don't know is necessarily enough to get a feel for what is currently happening.
I think overall, it seems like there's some trends that are being answered. There's a lot of details that you get bogged down in details, right?
Yeah.
So there's an awful lot of accountability is the problem.
If you're looking for a flavor of how it's working now, I think watching the work sessions.
Yeah, I was gonna ask whether it's work sessions or council where you gain the most information.
I would go back and if you really want a flavor of how the village is working, go back and watch some of the Saturday morning work sessions. Really see how the communication happens.
I really want to get to the responses from the meeting, so I'm just living through this, and I've already told my person that I can't meet him, so
I'm sorry.
it's all right.
This is important, I'm really glad we did this. Aren't you guys?
I'm glad we did
This is rich.
Here, I'll see if I can pick up my pace here, right? Question 16.
Or you can just let us read it, we can all read it, I think.
So I think we've got a good flavor of this. Her point, we've only got a half hour left. Do you want to post this and we can read through the remaining 6?
It's already on the show.
All right. And then I'll,
So wait,
there's,
you asked the position as the mayor, so then was anybody even the mayor?
Yeah, so this one probably,
I would imagine.
that's a no. So look at that. Oh, never been there.
So clearly,
Yeah.
Lynn did not respond.
We have no living past there.
What was the deadline you gave me?
The 11th.
Uh,
Although,
I
I
know she's
know,
got stuff going on.
I do actually expect some people to, submit some responses late.
I could go ahead.
All of them.
I think your questions are very good, John.
Thank you. All right, so let's get to the meeting feedback. And I know that Evan, you, sir, wrote down some
Yes,
things.
there wasn't actually, I wrote down, there were maybe handout questions, I just want to see like comments. Oh, something just happened when you were texting.
I really
Hit
thought
something
that
on
was-
my keyboard,
I really thought that was
I didn't get rid of.
Oh, God.
I see it compulsively, so I'm not sure why I would. Okay. Oh, no, not.
Sorry.
Okay.
Never heard of a computer called Alien.
Oh, it's a gaming laptop. It's an old gaming laptop, so I wouldn't put any. So, there were maybe 6 or 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, And they were just speaking mainly to a couple themes. Some of them we can kind of ignore, like that request for representative decision-making. That's gonna be what we do anyway. I mean, we can't have a council that isn't elected, so sorry about that.
Checks and balances.
In specific, pro manager statement.
Were you reading so that people who are live streaming, they can see this on our screen?
I should read, okay, so I'll just go through. So the first one, from Mary Franz, one of the system checks and balances, and one that provided better communication and efficiency. So Hal Howard liked the idea of a manager because it provides a broader talent pool and brings professionalism and efficiency to the office. The village needs someone who can quickly and efficiently implement council's vision. That's what he felt. A fine gentleman whose name we did not get said that this was in response to some questions that arose during the meeting about how much it would cost. He said that from a cost standpoint, the council is volunteering and the mayor isn't being paid very much. Although the mayor is part-time, she does receive full benefits. It isn't a very large overlay of spending. So even were we to choose a mayor council administrator style, even potentially doubling our costs for mayor and council, it would still be a relatively small increase in the overall cost budget compared to, police or fire. Jen Pocket was concerned about the charter becoming too intricate and complex, which actually would add to inefficiencies and dealing with functions of government on a micro level when it isn't needed. So I think this sort of dovetails with what Mr. Davidson told us, which we don't want to, micro legislate. We don't want this charter to deal with everything. We want to give the council more room to maneuver. Mary Franz on representative decision making, which is hopefully what we will get. We're not going to put in. Yeah, we can't really. There's no like authoritarian governments we can put into place. So. Yeah, Jen McCall inquired about Eric Fisher's salary and how it balanced out with the mayor's. Also, whether or not we would be adding more administrators such as Eric Fisher. This, we would reply to it on the spot. It would be left to the council basically because the charter, we could add more positions, but the village planner is contingent upon requiring a village planner, which we won't always require. When the MI development is done, we may not need a village planner anymore. It might be on a contract basis or contingency. So, and then the last, was a comment by Pastor Fite, who advised citizens not to get the weeds, and that this will affect our future. There are many young families coming in, and in the end, this is our village. He plugged the charter pretty hard. He was definitely going to bat for us, and he would like to be as supportive as possible, and would like his church to thrive along with Minerva. So that was basically the just that there were a number of questions asked throughout. They mainly, there were mostly procedural questions. I don't think anyone pushed for one or another. There was the one woman who was sitting up front who asked a lot about taxes and whether her taxes would go up, which I don't think the charter will necessarily affect that too much. Even when we choose the most expensive, form of government.
That woman though, made an excellent point. Regular people who don't, I was pleased with the turnout, but regular people don't know what we're doing. And she very clearly articulated, how is this going to affect me? This is what we really have to find a way to describe. She said it well, and she said it right off the bat too. How will this change my quality of life? And do you know who it was? I don't, she's friends with Joanne's, that lives a couple doors down from me.
Can't help each other.
Yes, they did. We talked to her, Ray. Did you get her name? I didn't either.
I can show you her house, but I don't know her name.
But her position was good. It won't give her the idea, if we want to lobby people about this, we have to help find a way to make it clear to them how this is going to ultimately improve their life.
Make it relatable to some person,
Yes.
some abstract. Yeah, and I think that's, not necessarily for writing things. We need to develop for writing it before, speaking to the community and getting their support. That's what I want to be thinking.
Yeah.
Well, in Texas may go up, because with the economic development, should they reassess? And I don't know how often they
Well,
reassess.
that's not the charter.
Right.
So when they do that, right, and
Well,
if our values will go up, because the houses are so big.
The reassessments every 10 years?
I don't know about it. Maybe,
It's more often than that. 5 or 10, I think, is the.
not 10, but
And we just had it last year, the year before, so it was 2 years.
I think my major takeaway is like, there weren't a lot of people commenting specifically on what we wanted them to comment on, which was
The forms are
the forms of
government.
government. There was the one gentleman who seemed very in favor of a administrator. And then everyone else just was trying to wrap their heads around what that all meant, which I think is good. It's fine. Maybe we'll get some comments on the,
Yeah,
on the
I think we got a lot of good questions that weren't necessarily questions that would lead us to know what they want in the charter so much as they were truly trying to take in your commission and understand it, which is good, they were engaged. I would love to have their feedback after, they've had some time to think about it for a week. Do they have additional questions? Do they love or hate any particular thing? But they did a good job taking it in, asking questions about how does this work? The questions we've been asking, what's the difference between mayor, council, and this and that?
So is it accurate to think, is it stupid of me to think that we need to do another one of these where we specifically address the issues of how does a charter affect you personally
I think
as a villager?
that's a good idea, but I don't think we should do that for a little bit until we actually decide how the charter.
Right, no,
I don't
yeah,
think that's a bad idea. I think we should, we don't want to do it until, 2 or 3 months from now, we have a
right.
working
I
document.
think it's a good idea, but I mean,
I do too. I think one of the benefits that, became very apparent to me is one of the people in the room thanked us for, showing the entire array of options and what all the, pluses and negatives were, and for being very transparent. I think there has been a suspiciousness because of that prior experience related to that building, and I think we helped set that aside by so many of us were able to come and we were telling the whole story, and they seemed pleased. And one person actually said it, but the room I felt like people were with us. I really did.
I think anybody that had any suspicions or were worried, I think everybody was really sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You feel that way too, Sharon? Is that the feedback you're getting generally? Is it,
Well, from people in the community, yeah, I was a little bit reassured.
That's only 25 people.
But yeah, see,
So to that end, I think that a lesson that maybe I read is I think we should have that side of meeting more regularly. I think that we should have it at least monthly. I think, and I know it's a time suck,
it
and.
is a giant time suck, but I agree, this was the thing, this is the way the villages failed again and again and again and again, failed.
Put a flyer on every mailbox once a month saying, come and.
Are there children we can hire to do this?
yes, I am certain there are.
I've never had a problem passing out flyers.
I hate doing it, it drives me
It's not
bananas.
like we develop a podcast, you don't do, right? It's not a.
yeah, I reject it. Yes, when I spoke, I had a really nice conversation with Mayor Mount Vernon. And you may or may not know, Mount Vernon just had their charter, the question of even putting it on the ballot, defeated. And he complimented whomever it was in our village who got the charter. He said, you got it on the first time? I said, yes. Oh my gosh. His advice, I asked him for his advice, and he said, I would advise education. He said, we started a year prior trying to educate people of what a charter was. He said it wasn't enough. He said just getting the question on the ballot, theirs was defeated. He said, if you're gonna go forward, just like Nina just said, you've got to show people how it's gonna affect them. You have to explain exactly how it's better. Or people just look at it as a paragraph of the government.
When they glaze over.
Oh, they glaze over. And so that's one thing. So I agree with Brian. I don't think we can do enough meetings or where people can come and ask us questions and they feel it's transparent.
So I would say the challenge of doing it monthly is that's arbitrary, we may not have information to present. I think that's more milestone.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Well, I have a suggestion about that. What if we do it monthly and we invite people to regular meetings? We have our regular meeting at the church.
Can't really.
Thursday meeting, this,
Perhaps we should.
This meeting.
Well, perhaps we should for this to extend personal invitations to a few people to come here while we're here.
Well, I mean, if we're extending personal, I mean,
Well, maybe the problem,
Well,
well, yeah, maybe the problem isn't necessarily the venue so much as a school night, dinner time.
I think there is a high probability that this would be defeated if we do not do a whole bunch more.
outreach.
Well, yeah, and also maybe what we do is if we come to pieces and parts of it, there's an apples to apples comparison. Now, I know I promised you all, but I will tell you what the law said. So I started back again to do it. So, I mean, when we get the pieces and parts, I can put up there, here's apples to apples, you know, here's what the law provides, and here's what our charter's gonna provide. We have to write something.
Right, so I think that the takeaways from the meeting are that people, like you said, very much appreciate the transparency. It's not argumentative, they're very open to it, it's gonna be up to us, to your point, to make sure that they're engaging in this team's work. So how can we make this work better?
You were there, was it, Linda, you were there? And Evan was there, and you were there. What was your takeaway?
Same thing, the meetings that I've been in have been so combative, I was very impressed with the civility of it.
Yes.
And the transparency. I think the reason why the Sherman Charter has anything about it is because of the suspicion of accountability. That's my point. They're ready for the government. So perhaps after we decide our form of government, then we have to be right.
That's something that I think that's a really good idea.
That's a good idea.
Well, perhaps, because once we decide that we're going to be able to, for example, if we had an administrator, we're gonna be able to set forth their duties. I mean, the whole sections we can take care of.
Or even not here's the decisions we made, here's, obviously we're gonna pick form of government, but here's what we're looking at now, and again, what's your feedback? So we decided on, I'm just gonna pick mayor council, just because. Here's what we picked, here's what we're going down, there's pros, there's cons. What do you guys have as feedback as far as your concerns, given the path that we're on now? You know what I mean, like get specific feedback from that.
I think we're gonna have to. I don't really want that, but I think we're gonna have to. And I also think it would benefit us if we would talk during those meetings about our process. The things that we personally grappled with and the things we argued about during the meetings. Because we know, virtually no one is watching these live streams of the meetings. So
it's not a lot.
I think future meetings like that are called for, but not for a couple months.
I don't know.
Well, let's not try to decide the time now, because I don't think we have enough.
We need to have something concrete that we can compare against statutory and say, here's why it's better. And until you get that, you shouldn't have a lot of meetings.
No, we're not gonna have it right now,
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
so.
What was
we love
your
the idea,
takeaway?
we figure out the practicalities.
My takeaway was that it was one of the best meetings I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot.
Yes.
Nice. Did we have any responses on our website? Nobody sent any requests. Jeez.
We're getting a lot of hints from the people we've been turning to listen to, and to actively seek some guidance from. And it seems to me that once we get to the making of the recommendation and pursuing it, and the process then moves to the next stage, Mr. Davidson, I thought when I asked him specifically about how, because it failed twice there, about lobbying. And I wanted to hear what he had to say about that, because we're gonna all have to be on the same page about that. And part of the reason why, in my opinion, some of the things that are going on right now around this in our own political environment is because they say the same things over and over and over again. And all the people they send out are saying the same things over and over again. We're gonna have to come up with agreed upon talking points that we endlessly say when we're talking to people, to really display that we're very deeply committed to this. There's enthusiasm. We think it's gonna make it really great, and we just need to all do that together. And what he said made me very, very clearly said to me, you can carry this as an ambassador. Every time you talk about this to anybody in your neighborhood, even if they're not coming to these meetings, and we're all talking to people about it, be clear what you say, they're hearing you. They're picking up if you're questioning and suspicious, they pick that up. Now, of course, I'm not, but if I was, they'd pick that up. And I think we all have to be real conscious of that. That once we start carrying the ball, we have to all carry the ball. And I got that directly from him, and everything I got from him that I love that he said was, we live here, we think that we have enough people here that we know best what's good for us. I like that he said that about OBES, and I think that we have to emphasize that whatever we're proposing is because it's in behalf of the people who live here at this particular time, and that we know best what's good for us now and 50 years from now. And so between those two things, it gave me a sense of purpose, I guess, around thinking about this. And the last thing he said that was helpful, what is your vision? Well, of course, we don't have a lot of land left to develop. However, if we went around the table, even just off the tops of our head, I bet all of us could think of reasons, that things that we might like to promote, or that what we could have a vision about. Families who don't want to live in the suburbs, that want to live closer to the center of town, who want to be close to good schools, but don't want to drive, an hour and a half to get to work. There's a lot of, we have things in the quaintness of this environment. These are things that we could be promoting and selling as a vision, because we can't promote development, not the way that OBES did.
I volunteer you to start on Jordan, then go to Wildwood, then Woodley, Minerva Lake Road, and just keep on going until you've talked to every single person in the village.
My wife made a comment that I thought was fairly telling, that there wasn't a single council person in attendance at our meeting.
There was.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Was Diane?
Diane.
Oh, Diane, that's right.
Tiffany Hughes came in, she stayed for a little bit, and then she left.
Okay.
Matthew would have been there.
If in the end game, we say, this is great, and the council says, boo, that's gonna split.
Good point. We need that partnership, we get to that point.
I also volunteer you to put that partnership together.
Wait, Pam's not here, so you're on load on me?
Yep, you're not.
I'm gonna talk, well, she gotta listen to these
I'm gonna
notes.
tell you why, because, again, I can't do it, he can't do it. Really, Dick can't do it just because he's been here so long.
I know, but he has good publicity. There was somebody in the meeting that kept saying they were glad he was there.
He does, but the point is that, but I can't be that, of course, I want us to put together a good charter and I want it to pass, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
But I also have like years worth of animosity related to the council and the mayor.
The
Years
state
worth.
is on you.
The
in other
state is
words.
on you.
Yeah,
The
I
state
got
is
it.
on you. And I'm not the only one.
It's just a matter of time before it's on me too. I mean, that's what I'm hoping.
But I think that, not how we all have our audience that relates to us, right? I mean, I can talk to the things in the new communities on the same folks and they can relate to me. I'm not one of the people who's lived here for 40 years and can't relate at all, right?
What do the people in the community want? What do they want?
They
You have a variety.
I mean, for the most part, they have no idea
Yeah.
that any of this matters.
Mhm.
They've never lived in a place that has government, they could literally, Be a part of
that they can be a
that.
part of.
right?
Yeah.
So they're coming from places where you've got City of Columbus and it's got professional politicians, they'll do it in an ivory tower somewhere. They're just somewhat disconnected and confused. So on that part, it's a lot of it is just education.
And I think some of the older people in the village also, I mean, I don't sit around and think, okay, what's my village, you know, I pay my taxes, and I expect the place to look good, and not be run down, and I don't really want to think about it a lot, because I have a high-pressure job, and I've got a family, so it's sort of like, you know, do your job, keep the place sane, keep it clean.
If you were not on the charter commission and you received a letter in the mail from the charter commission that outlined how,
First, would you read it?
how the charter, that's what I'm about to ask, how the charter was gonna affect you and what the point was, would you read it?
Well, when the building thing came up, I was given it to review it and make comments. So yeah, I would probably get involved because it's my community. So I would, not because I'm just dying to get involved, but because sanity should bring. And I paid a lot of taxes, in my opinion, for,
Yeah.
and real estate taxes, and I don't want them squandered.
Right.
And, you know, I have a high level of responsibility at work and I do my job well. I expect the people who aren't paid that much but want to be a village council member to do a good job. And, you know, I'm not, I was giving them more money. I think they got us in too many daily meetings. I mean, it used to be, what, one meeting a month and now there's how many meetings?
A lot. It's exhausting,
So
yeah.
that's- So you're running and spinning your wheels, and you never sit back and say, what do we really want to do? And where do we want to move the village? How do we keep the place going and attract people?
So, okay,
I feel like Deb is another good example of that because she's obviously involved in government and
Now I am, I
one of
wasn't
the,
before.
but we're a bad sample for the type of people we want to reach.
Yeah.
We don't want to reach people who come to these meetings and read this, we want to reach people who don't come to these meetings and don't read this stuff.
so I'm wondering, does it make sense for us to send out, maybe instead of monthly meetings, if we were to send out a monthly letter?
That's,
What's the return on investment on that is what you're asking?
That's what I'm asking, that's exactly what I'm asking.
so here's my opinion on that. And that in postage alone,
Believe me, I'm calculating the postage in my head right now.
On the charter, and I have something to share.
And
We
then
don't have anything.
All right,
so.
I really don't think that we have anything to show right now, and that we really need to just work on getting something to show before we figure the rest of this out.
If you look, I mean, when I listen to all those comments, it's like, people are mad that nobody has an idea where we're going, right? And I don't know if you're gonna solve that with a charter. I'm not saying.
well, it's not the only thing that I'm getting out of those comments, it's not,
That's a big thing though.
it's a portion of it. It's also that, it's a lot of other things too, it also, there's a lot of things are not defined, and there is no communication.
And I think maybe a charter could define them more.
And I think that's the sell to those people.
Yes, because it will.
Charter could mandate a strategic plan,
Yeah.
Absolutely,
be passed by resolution
Absolutely.
annually.
absolutely.
That is absolutely a good thing.
You probably do that now, but you don't have a council who has any requirement under the current state law.
But the form of government you choose is gonna be skill driven.
Yeah, I think that's a.
I think that's the bottom line here. We need a skill driven set of leaders. And right now, that is not exactly the way it works, just because of the nature of this community.
Well, they're still elected, but you're gonna try to write in the charter
When we get to that point,
the skills you want.
we kind of think.
Well, you've got the option.
Okay, I
Because
will.
I think that's.
Your house. So that's one of the top those two things, right? Is you've got the skill driven versus the elected people whose hearts are in the right place, but they don't have the skill set. Right, so it's.
Plus, we need to protect our credibility. We have credibility right now, and I want to protect that. I do. I would like to suggest that we update the website because we are not looking for 3 more. We should identify who we've added and welcome them. And tell the streets they're on. Awesome.
Right?
Okay, I'll do it.
What are you gonna do?
I'll do it.
I'll even give you access to those.
I don't know how to do that.
You need to update the website.
No.
Write an entry for the website.
Yeah. Because I have to show the neighborhoods too. That's important.
To that point, we should maybe do something. Gotta have something.
Whoever-
We could do that.
Whoever wants
There's
to write,
15 of us,
I
that's
can
one
post it.
every 4.
I would raise again, we might want to do like little bios in the MPCA newsletter or the village mailer. We could do just a little paragraph where
Keep the information out there.
why we think it should, like, why we are writing a charter, why we think it's important to us.
Well, let's do this for the next one, whichever is better, because I can't keep them straight, to be perfectly honest.
These would be nice when they were together.
Yeah.
I mean, let's do an update on the meeting. Thanks
So-
for people coming, we appreciate your input, any
So-
follow-up questions of the.
If you want to be in the village update, which is the village newsletter, that cutoff is tomorrow. Typically, there's a little wiggle there. If anybody wants to write down, if anybody's volunteering to write it, what I would recommend is you reach out to the mayor and Sharon Bierman to say, hey, the charter commission wants, yes, Sharon Bierman still does the newsletter.
You better believe it.
I thought she was.
She did, but she still does our newsletter.
So,
Yes.
and say the charter commission would like to submit something, we just need a couple days, and that would be whoever's volunteering to write it. I am not volunteering to write it.
And,
I
you
just
know,
want to let you know, I knew that tomorrow was the cutoff.
concerning the wiggle room, Sharon was supportive of the charter
Yes, she was.
amendment. She would be willing to put extra effort to ensure that something makes it in, probably.
So, email you,
The mayor and Sharon Bierman.
we do that.
You could probably just email the mayor and ask her to forward it on, but I
You
believe.
know, village update.
Yeah.
You know who has Sharon's cell phone number is Bob Gale.
That's.
The possible-
I think this was a good meeting tonight.
It was that one?
It was a good meeting. We were talking to each other and we're all listening to it. It's good. Progress.
We're just very.
Progress.
And next week is our
Program.
long meeting.
It's our tipping point.
It is our typical.
That's what it is.
Next week, we are coming and we are making, that's our deadline, we're making a decision on formal government so that we can move forward. We'll be here as long as it takes. We're gonna come to consensus. We all need to agree. That's our plan. Dick has a question, I'm scared of some of that. You know,
If you want to pass the charter, the civic association used to have block reps who were active and knew all the people on their block. If we somehow could do that individually, you know, a month or two before the charter comes to vote, I'm having a meeting at my house or wherever to tell you why I think this is a good idea. If we all did that, I think it would have more impact than open meetings and emails and video and everything. If you do it on a one-to-one basis and get a good section of your neighbors there, that's the best way I think to pass it.
House meetings, good old fashioned politics.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
I agree with that. I also think we need to add, some of the other things in too. But I agree with you, Dick. And I'm volunteering Nina to do that meeting for me.
Thank you. Share the, there we go. All right, we'll do that.
But you're on board, I'm on board, we have one other neighbor on our street.
And I volunteer Nina to help.
Oh, my gosh, it's so many of us on the same street, what is wrong with me?
We can actually use the pool too.
Yes, you gotta wait till we get it fixed.
Yeah, but we,
Oh.
Yeah.
that's not a bad idea. Except they don't open until Memorial Day, and we gotta be done with this by the middle of June.
Yeah, our ship would have sailed by then.
Wait, you're gonna have it done.
But you have to sell it.
We
Yeah,
sell
somebody
it.
gets to sell it, because this isn't on the bell till 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, I think that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesdays at the pool.
I mean, most of the.
I
That's a good idea.
A lot to go into this. I think the weather's not a problem.
Well, here in the volunteers back here in my head.
The weather. I'm not really on board.
Yes, welcome.
I'm not really on board, so.
Put that in the notes. Evan volunteered his backyard and Deb's.
Sure.
And
There's a fence in between, so it'll be kind of hard, you know, we have to go a little.
Roll out, put the gates on.
Get back.
And Nina's been volunteered to do a whole lot.
I didn't check out all of our action items.
There were only a couple.
Okay.
You were gonna contact the mayor about getting that blurb in there.
Yeah.
Nina's gonna update the.
I'm gonna write it and I'm gonna send
And
it.
I think that was the only specific action items we had. Also, some more I need to add. I'm not actually gonna be able to attend next week's meeting, but I have complete confidence in all of you.
Oh my God, Evan.
Are you gonna express your point of view in that session?
My view, I'm leaning slightly towards council administrator, but I'm honestly happy with either. Again, I've articulated my views many times, mainly it comes to professionalism and candidate pool. That's pretty much it. When my car's broken, take it to a mechanic,
Hello?
right? Like I don't take it to my neighbor unless he happens to be a mechanic. Or
Okay.
she. That's-
Good catch.
so. But again, if you decide on the mayor council, I'm totally fine with that. Or council administrator, no commission.
No what?
No
No
commission.
commission.
Actually,
I really like the, like,
street saying that he was in favor of the
Go on.
commission. He said it works in townships like you do.
I think not diffuse enough.
Exactly, and we don't have enough departments and people and.
Oh, gosh, I don't want to get in one department.
I don't think they would do it.
Yes.
Mr. Dern,
So moved, second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Shelley and I are proposing.
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
I could move around.
Yeah.
Does anyone dislike a particular type of pizza